Richard Pryor Jr.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, man? Bill Baker, Shay Star, Hip Hop Coffee Shop. Good morning.
Good morning, bro. What up?
Good morning. What's happening?
What's up? I miss you.
You too.
Well, thank you so much for coming on with us, man. How are you?
Good. Glad to be here. Didn't know it was going to be so quick this time to be back on, but glad to be back on.
Absolutely. Well, look, anytime you're going to end up on TMZ, of course. Of course. You know we got to get you on. Come on.
Shoot, that's how you feel. Y'all just going, I just wake up, we log on to TMZ because we get our gossip and news from there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at these Richard Pryor faces on the front page, man. What's going on?
Well, they're basically doing a movie about your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And according to the story, you guys aren't, you and your sister aren't too happy about them getting Nick Cannon to play the role. Tell us a little bit about, how the whole thing conspired and about the movie and, what the deal is.
Well, the thing is with, it just baffles me, the fact that, they're making a movie about our father, but yet we're not involved in it whatsoever. None of the kids are.
None.
And I'm like, how can you have a film about the greatest comic of all time and not involve his kids around him, especially, the older kids who knew him for 40, 50 years and were around him and know the inside out about him, and your mother was either married to him or a part of his life. How can you not involve them in his life? And this would just baffles me about you're doing a story about his life, but yet you're not involving everybody who knew him.
Well, I would think that you would possibly even be up for the role. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you look like him. You know him. You study him.
You got the same name.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what I want to know is who is this Jennifer Pryor person?
Jennifer Pryor is a person that's, to be honest, is a person that's about control. And wants things her way. And if it's not her way, it's no way at all.
And what is her relation to the family?
There is no relation with the family.
Well, her last name is Pryor.
She has nothing to do with us whatsoever. She doesn't want to deal with us.
Well, I'm assuming she was married to your father, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You don't seem to want to talk about this.
No, I don't mind talking about it. She has you marry somebody who can't even talk and walk and everything, and then you want the kids to be happy about it, and to respect it as a union as it's supposed to be. Hell no, to me it's all a sham, and it's always been about sham. It's always been about with her. It's all about control and having control. That's why I think
money, obviously, which is one reason why she wrote you guys out of the situation.
Right, and I think so long. That's why it's taken so long to get this film off the ground, because people have to constantly work with her.
Well, so for people who don't know, Jennifer Pryor was married to your dad, and when he passed away, and now they're coming out with this movie, and she's kind of heading it up, but you guys aren't involved. So that's kind of like just a little history background of what's going on for people who don't know.
So is it not so much about Nick Cannon? Is it so much about the fact that you guys don't have anything at all to do with the film?
Well, it's actually a little bit of both, because I think the fact that we're not having a part of it is one thing, and then it's not even that, is at least reach out to us or something like that. But also with the thing with Nick Cannon, is like, does he have the chops to play it? That's the thing you have to look at. I know he's a great host on AGT, and the only thing that I can remember him in is I'm sure he's probably done other things, is Drumline. You know what I mean? So
right.
I'm like, it takes some big shoes to be able to fill that, because the thing that I worry about most when people playing my father is that them doing a caricature of my father and not who the person really was. They see what he is on stand-up and what he was on stage, but he was much more than that and bigger than that.
Who would you like to see play your dad in the role?
Oh, my God. Other than me?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Obviously, you are the obvious choice, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, what would? Of course, you're not going to feel at ease,
Yeah.
because you guys don't have anything to do with the movie. But just to feel just maybe a smidge, a little bit better, who would you rather see play your father if you guys didn't have anything to do with it?
He doesn't really resemble him a lot. And what's the actor from Fruitvale Station? Is that
Michael B. Jordan?
Michael D. Jordan.
Okay.
He is actually a very excellent actor. He really is.
And that I see someone like that, someone who can actually pull off. The way you look and everything like that. All that can be worked out with makeup and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Do you talk to Jennifer Pryor at all? Have you had any contact since the beginning of this movie, or maybe even since this story broke on TMZ?
Oh no.
Okay.
But I'm surprised, but I'm sure. I'm probably, our names are probably highlighted on alert or something on her, whatever she gets, and I'm sure she's going to read about it. So, it is what it is.
Have you tried? Have you tried to contact her?
No. I have nothing to say. The only thing I have to say is when I have my book come out. So. It'll say a lot of it. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I heard you have a tell-all book that you're gonna get all the way down to the nitty-gritty of everything from the death of your father, and
she might be calling you after that. Not you calling her.
Really?
Yep. I gotta tell it all. It's time for for us to stand up and say who we are and what we've been through and how we got out of it. So
right.
If there's one thing you could say to her right now, if she was sitting right here, what would you say to her?
What would I say to her? I would probably say to her, be real and be honest. And stop thinking you're Richard Pryor.
Okay.
She thinks she's Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? She's using that last name, like loud and proud. I tell you what.
Yeah.
Of course.
I just see a lot of discrepancies in a lot of the reports that I've seen, and I've talked to Rain on several occasions, and I didn't realize you guys' father was as sick as he was at the end, and then the way that she left and came back, and I just think it's so much more investigation that needs to be done into all of that.
Yeah, I really wish it would happen, but everything that's in the dark comes to the light eventually. So.
God works in mysterious ways, man, out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You guys are going to have your day. I see it coming. I see it coming.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this story being on TMZ right now is going to get you guys a lot of people going to be digging. So just wait for it.
I'm waiting for it and everything. And then if, even Nick Cannon, if he hears this, or Shay hears this, and everything, reach out to us. That's all we've ever wanted. It's not that we want accolades or anything like that. We just want the truth to be told.
Okay.
We want to portray the right way. So.
Very good. Well, listen, Richard Pryor Jr., thank you so much for joining us this morning. We just wanted to shed light on this story. You try to have a wonderful 4th.
Yes.
And, if anything else, pops off, anything else develops, we will definitely bring you back on. And, this is always an open forum for you and your family.
All right, sounds good.
Appreciate it, my man. Have a good one.
Thanks.
All right, you too.
Bye.
OC104 is online at OC104.com. OC104.com. Put us in your favorites today and find out everything we have going on here at OC104. Get the latest news headlines,